Pedagogy Indicators by Lucian Greenviewer Stillbirths 1 of 3. 1. I prepared to be a seller. I did this by stating that sexual intercourse won't kill the mother or child. First, I determined that the phallus wouldn't touch the child. Second, I determined that it was safe. Third, I enjoyed this thought. In this way, I prepared to be a seller by stating that sexual intercourse won't kill the mother or child. 2. I prepared to write about recommend no capital punishment. I did this by stating that pedagogy being distributed will prevent killing others. First, I stated that the criminal would be captured. Second, I stated that the criminal would be justly tried. Third, I observed that if the criminal was guilty, he would be placed in a jail. In this way, I prepared to write about recommend no capital punishment by stating that pedagogy being distributed will prevent killing others. 3. I prepared to repeat this in the sutra's reasonings. I did this by stating that God, the philosopher, was loaded with pedagogy. First, I wrote 50 as. Second, I gave 1 out per day. Third, I stated that the rest were recordings of the other 49 as. In this way, I prepared to repeat this in the sutra's reasonings. I did this by stating that God, the philosopher, was loaded with pedagogy. 4. I prepared to be recommended to a friend. I did this by stating that the computational algorithm helped with conception medicine. First, I listened to the prayer request. Second, I found 10 thoughts for the first statement that the requester said after this. Third, I repeated this until 80 reasonings had been thought of. In this way, I prepared to be recommended to a friend by stating that the computational algorithm helped with conception medicine. 5. I prepared to give the child a proper upbringing. I did this by connecting myself with the child. First, I found the child. Second, I sat him on my knee. Third, I told him the story. In this way, I prepared to give the child a proper upbringing by connecting myself with the child. 6. I prepared to prepare for the acting character's 250 reasonings or 50 as. I did this by stating that the child experienced 50 reasonings from a creative writing sentence. First, I wrote the 50 reasonings. Second, I wrote the sentence. Third, I allowed the child to experience the 50 reasonings. In this way, I prepared to prepare for the acting character's 250 reasonings or 50 as by stating that the child experienced 50 reasonings from a creative writing sentence. 7. I prepared to write about the character. I did this by stating that the child experienced 250 reasonings inspired by a 250 reasoning sentence. First, I wrote the 250 reasonings. Second, I inspected the character. Third, I observed the child experience the character. In this way, I prepared to write about the character by stating that the child experienced 250 reasonings inspired by a 250 reasoning sentence. 8. I prepared to lease love in the world. I did this by having a child with my wife. First, I looked at the child. Second, I made it mine. Third, I helped him to grow. In this way, I prepared to lease love in the world by having a child with my wife. 9. I prepared to notice the child's parts going well together. I did this by synthesizing the conception argument. First, I found the first reason. Second, I found the second reason. Third, I connected them. In this way, I prepared to notice the child's parts going well together by synthesizing the conception argument. 10. I prepared to make sure that nothing would go wrong, it would go well. I did this by critiquing the conception argument. First, I found the premise. Second, I gave a premise which was a reason agreeing with it. Third, I verified the second premise. In this way, I prepared to make sure that nothing would go wrong, it would go well by critiquing the conception argument. 11. I prepared to describe the child's looks. I did this by stating that the child was peaceful given 50 academic conception arguments. First, I decided whom to write the document for. Second, I wrote about the unnaturalness. Third, I wrote the question, who's that? In this way, I prepared to describe the child's looks by stating that the child was peaceful given 50 academic conception arguments. 12. I prepared to eat from the rice paper maggot. I did this by finding a lady to have a child with. First, I held the zucchini. Second, I fed it. Third, I ate the bamboo chopsticks. In this way, I prepared to eat from the rice paper maggot by finding a lady to have a child with. 13. I prepared to aim with the best. I did this by writing that the penis was a magic wand with the conception argument. First, I wrote about the phallus rod. Second, I held the ear for a child to it. Third, I wrote about the child's thoughts. In this way, I prepared to aim with the best by writing that the penis was a magic wand with the conception argument. 14. I prepared to walk on the ropes course. I did this by choosing the philosophy production lyric with the methodology. I reduced the reason to a subject predicate. First, I held the rose. Second, I held you. Third, I wrote a great amount. In this way, I prepared to walk on the ropes course by choosing the philosophy production lyric with the methodology. I reduced the reason to a subject predicate.